watched you tell us these stories, and there would be moments where tears will fall from your eyes involuntarily, and you wouldn't break stride. So I'm like, if I can play a police officer that people can respect, that can wear blue and still be black to make the culture proud, but also be the bridge between the cultures. Prior to getting the call, I felt something. I felt like something was on the way. I think I had just turned 25. I moved out of Harvey probably around season 2. And I never forget having that conversation with Big Bro. And Big Bro said, well, if you gone, Ro, you can't come back.
Hi, I'm Brian Luce, and this is the One Chicago podcast. Today, I'm extremely lucky to be with my good friend, LaRoyce Hawkins, a.k.a. Ro.
How we doing?
How we doing? And LaRoyce plays Officer Kevin Atwater on show Chicago P.D., and he has been there for 12 seasons. Do you know how many episodes so far? About,
I'm thinking it's close to 250.
Yeah, we're right there. About 243. My producer will correct me. He's really, really good.
About 243?
About 243.
That means I got about, I'm probably in about 240 of those.
All right. I don't want to get long-winded, but I think a good way to kick this off is to tell the people. I remember 13 years ago, You gave me a call, and this was right after the pilot kicked off. And me and you got pretty close when we were in it because we were the two Chicago guys.
Yeah.
And there were all these different actors, and a lot of them didn't come back. But you called me out of the blue, and you were like, Luch, man, you think this thing's going to go? Do we got a chance? How's it look? And you told me, I know you were out there in L.A. and you were kicking with the big people. And I'm like, yeah, but, they asked me a million questions. And I told them what I thought about this and that. I was like, Sarge, Voight was born to be Sarge. And Antonio was born to be a detective. And then you came around, LaRoyce. I says, what I could tell you about LaRoyce is this. Everything about LaRoyce says Chicago. Hell, it screams it. He's a depiction of Chicago. The South Side, the North Side, like everybody that I ever grew up with. He's got this big, huge heart of gold. I'll get him there with the gun. I'll get him there searching. We'll get there. But just know, like he's me. And I can't wait to see him in that uniform. And there's so many guys that I work with, and they're like, but I have no idea. I don't know. He don't know. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And what was so cool about that phone call was you weren't calling to try to get information. You were calling for a much, much bigger reason. And what people don't know is you were set to be a season regular on Ballers.
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
So you were going to go to HBO, brand new in this kind of business, right?
Yeah.
You had a chance to be a season regular on Ballers with The Rock.
Yeah.
And you were like, Luch, man, I don't know what to do. Do I roll the dice on something that may not be because no one knew if Chicago PD was going to get picked up? Do I become a baller or do I become the police? And I told you, man, God, I hope you make a decision because I don't want to lose you just as a person if they're gonna hire me.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, we didn't have a lot of chips back then. God knows that. Right? We had no money.
Yeah.
We were rubbing nickels together.
For sure.
And you turned around and you put all the chips on the police horse. And here we are, grinning and giggling, and we did it right.
13 seasons deep.
Yeah.
And if I can cut you off, Luch, I think the best part about that conversation was knowing that, because Ballers was flashy.
Yeah.
And like you said, we ain't had two nickels to rub together at the time.
We broke.
You know what I mean? So the allure of being on Ballers with The Rock, playing a football player, it was high octane kind of energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think my young mind was ready for that. But to be honest with you, the most important conversation you and I had was even before that call. It was when we met. And remember, we had that. You came through and you helped me and Will Height with the gun.
Oh, yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a Will Height.
Yeah, I got.
And I remember, yeah. And you pulled up on both of us, and her and I had just met. We had just met you, and they threw you in the room with us to, give us a quick tutorial.
Yeah, tips with
Luch. And you start unpacking these stories. And I'm from Harvey.
Yeah.
Where the average young mind growing up in that neighborhood doesn't trust the police. We a lot more, we just a lot more locked in with big homies on the block and our own friends and family. And the police officers are opposition to us. most of the time.
Understandable, yeah.
And so, you know, I understood the unpopular decision it would be being the police or a football player. And I didn't have experience either way. Let the record know. My grandma didn't let me play football. So I would have been really, I was acting regardless.
Yeah.
But you sold me on the heart.
Thank you.
You sold me on the soul piece. You know what I mean? Which I was like, wow. I watched you tell us these stories, and there would be moments where tears will fall from your eyes involuntarily, and you wouldn't break stride.
Yeah.
Telling us stories about the undercover missions that you've been a part of, or the young people that you did your best to save and lost their lives in your protection. The parents that you had to have conversations with. You know what I mean? Just all those tough moments. And I was like, wow, this is an opportunity. It's bigger than the police. This is an opportunity to really tie the knot between cultures. I'm like, if I can play a police officer that people can respect, you know what I mean? That can wear blue and still be black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like proud, to make the culture proud, but also be the bridge between the cultures. Because we didn't expect this at the time, but eventually that bridge builder would be extremely important as the seasons would progress with Chicago PD. But that seed was planted for me to be able to do that, or for us to be able to do that as a show, because of your authenticity.
For those people that aren't from Chicago, we talk about Harvey a lot, which was LaRoyce. You're born and raised there, right?
Born and raised in Harvey.
Born and raised in Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the south side of Chicago. And how far up do we go? How far hundreds?
It's about 159th, 167.
159, 167. So it's a suburb of Chicago.
Yep, suburb.
It's out on the tips. There's nicknames. The low end for the low numbers in Chicago. There's the Wild Hundreds. And then there's Harvey, where you're from. But you spend most of your time, I mean, you grew up in Harvey, but a lot of your time's in Chicago, too.
Yeah, now it is. Ever since I've been on the show.
Yeah,
but I moved out of Harvey probably around season 2. And I never forget having that conversation with Big Bro, who you met and we all love. And Big Bro said, well, if you gone, Ro, you can't come back.
Really?
He said, you can't come back, so make sure you ready to go when you leave. Because you can always come home.
Right, but
you know what I'm saying? At a certain level, as you're growing and progressing. And so I'll never forget that conversation with Big Bro. And he's made sure that we've been able to maintain as a family. And so when I go back, it's naturally by choice, so that we can take care of people, so that we can make sure that everybody's good. My grandma's still there naturally. Dad still lives in the area. But that was a big day for me to move out of Harvey. You know what I mean? Because the whole first season, just because I was still so attached, whatever little couple dollars I was getting, I was throwing them on hotels for a couple weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And my homies were like, yo, bro, why don't you just move downtown? And to me, it was almost like a foreign thought. You know what I mean? It's like you never thought about moving. Like, well, I guess I could move downtown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But couldn't come back.
All right, you've been on PD since the very beginning. Can you take us back to first joining the show, and what was it like getting the call?
It was amazing. It was at that time, it was almost like prayers had been answered. Because prior to getting the call, I felt something. I felt like something was on the way. I think I had just turned 25.
Ooh, wow.
And there was something, like every night I would go to sleep and I have this feeling like tomorrow might be the day. Tomorrow might be the day.
And were there auditions that you were doing before that?
It was auditions I was doing. I was gigging. You know, I started in stand-up, so I was doing a lot of comedy. I was doing a lot of poetry. I was hosting random stuff, bachelorette parties, baby showers. You know what I'm saying? You never know with me. I was just doing whatever I could to find an audience and to, perfect my craft. I'm just an entertainer. And obviously I had some acting chops, but it wasn't until Chicago PD where I would really learn, how to act, at a high level. Thank God for this cast, because I've been able to learn so much from them. And then we had certain directors that have pulled up and taught us so much. And I've watched you learn it, too.
Oh, man.
We both kind of learned the business.
I didn't know nothing.
At this level
People
together.
who cared about me and didn't want to lose me would help me and save me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I probably the same with you. Like, man, I know that you and Voight go for a walk and talk.
Yeah.
And stuff happens. But when I got the call, like, Luce, you want to do this? I was still doing both jobs, and I was going through a divorce at the time, like, a bad divorce, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted something to keep me busy. But when you got that call and they said you're a season regular, were you in Harvey at that time?
I was in Harvey at the time.
You were on Harvey?
I was in Harvey at the time. And to be honest with you, it felt, there's, and my grandfather's still alive, Grandpa John. And Grandpa John, for years, I've watched him just take care of the family. You know what I'm saying? Emergencies, he's the first one that we know is going to pull up and he's going to save the day. He was the patriarch of the family that we knew that we could depend on, not just financially, but also emotionally. He's so stable, right? And so grounded. And I think I was looking for that. When I got that call, I saw myself as the new Grandpa John in my family. I was like, I have the opportunity now to earn a living and ground myself so that I can protect my family.
And not just monetarily either.
Right. I knew that I would have the opportunity to be an example to my family and my community of what hard work looks like, of how doing the right thing when nobody's looking can pay off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
About being a good person.
Just being a good person and just seeing it through. And since then, 13 seasons later, I have family. You know what I'm saying? One of our favorite PAs is my niece.
Little Water.
You know what I mean?
I seen her yesterday.
Yeah. And she's thoroughly enjoying herself. I remember when Tud was a dead body, and she was happy to do it. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And now for her to be this thoroughly immersed in the business at this point.
She just went to L.A.
Yeah, she went to L.A. and took some editing.
Put her in the editor room, right?
Yeah.
I know I made a phone call to Terry or somebody. So Little Water, for the people that are out there, is LaRoyce Hawkins' niece, who's a production assistant, who I'm so lucky to have. Like, she reminds me to get to work all the time.
Yeah.
And she's just cute as a button. Yeah, so, okay, here's a question. Is it cool to be working in your hometown of Chicago? Or is it kind of a pain in the ass because people are messing with you?
It's a little bit of both, but it's mostly cool. It's mostly cool. Yeah. Because this is where I feel the most comfortable. This is where I feel, protected. I still got a lot of loved ones here that they take the character personally. You know what I mean? That kind of care and comfort, I don't think you can get anywhere else. If I was to implant in Atlanta or in LA or New York, I wouldn't feel as I wouldn't feel as protected and thought for it. Plus, kind of tucked up. You know what I mean? I mean, the business can get interesting. Right, being at home and just there's
lovers and haters.
There's lovers and haters, but it's mostly lovers at home. You know what I mean? And the fact that I can go to my grandma's house, have a home cooked meal after a long day of shooting. You know what I'm saying? That goes so far.
I know with me, being the police, like sometimes they'll be like, "Oh man, you didn't get it right this time." I got all these state's attorneys and I got living in Chicago and working. Like I'm not an actor, but like I'm trying. So I have all these state's attorneys that I respect and judges that I respect and coppers that I respect, but they'll hand me my ass when I get it wrong. So I was just wondering, like you said, being an African American guy and then playing the police and then playing the police in Chicago, like they're right here to let you know.
But that's the best part too. That's the other side of it is the character that I play. It's not just working at a high level at home, but to be a black cop. You know what I mean?
Right,
and for me to be able to still be tapped in with certain people who I grew up with, who went a different direction. You know what I mean?
For whatever reason.
Yeah. But the role has been able to inspire those people. You know what I mean? I went to school with some people who ended up getting locked up, and I see them on the way out, and they like, man, you really inspired me when I was inside. And sometimes that's a greater compliment than from the cops who say, you really inspired me on the outside. But I have some friends who made some bad decisions, had to do that time. And they were like, while I was in there, to be able to see you. And they were like, man, they not only were they watching, they had the whole penitentiary watching. Everything slow down with Chicago PD. Come on, we got to watch my boy.
That happens. Like, the stories. I remember this African American dude on the South Side said, no, I don't even care that you're out here filming. I got to go watch my stories. I said, what's your stories? Your show.
Right.
Never missed it. Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so that's cool, man. That's cool. You can't do that nowhere else.
Earlier we were talking about like there's only so much like I can give each actor, and I know when I could only go to where I could go. But I coined the phrase, I'm rich in friendship. So working police, real police, could call anywhere and have some guys. And with you, I knew in my heart, like, I don't know what it's like to be a black policeman, to work in a white community, or being a black policeman, working in a black community. And I thought you needed to know, but mostly it was because you asked me. You were like, Luce, you got to hook me up, man. And the guys I hooked you up with are guys that are like kind of legends on the job, that are good policemen. And there's assholes. You know what I mean? There's jerk policemen. There's great policemen that every gonna get a rotten egg and a dozen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those guys that you hooked up with, did you go on ride-alongs?
Yeah, early.
Early.
Before anybody could recognize me. It's hard to do a ride-along now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They know you.
But once upon a time, you could do a ride-along easy. And I never forget doing this undercover drug bust once upon a time. And, I sat shotgun and I saw everything firsthand, and it was cold. And me and that officer, I won't say his name because he works at undercover capacity,
right.
But we still tight. And what's funny is, like, I'm like a little brother to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we might see each other on the street. I can still call him. I've had to call him and have him, check my 6 a few times just in case. And he's always pulled up. But it was one particular time. It was hilarious.
I love this.
I was, it was like after work, got off early enough, and there was this wine shop at this house I used to live on in the West Loop. So I go to the wine shop, and I see him in there.
Oh, but he may be working.
I see him in there, and he in there with some brothers that's some tough talking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? From round the way, and I could just tell by their energy they from the West Side, and they just got these chips on their shoulders. But he in there fellowshipping with them, and I walk in, and he noticed me, and we dapped up, and I'll never forget when all of a sudden he got a call, he had to leave. So I text him. I'm still there with the homies.
Yeah, you straight.
And I text him, and I'm like, yo, I got your 6. If you need anything, I'm going to be right here. He was like, bro, what you talking about? I was like, I know you can't say much, and you don't got to tell me anything. Just understand that if you working, however you need me, I'm in the pocket, because you done taught me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I'm fresh off work, so I'm still in mode.
Yeah, you got cop mode in here.
So I'm in there, so I start working them. Before I know it, now me and these brothers are extra tight. They support me coming to all of my shows. I see their kids off of prom. You know what I'm saying? But by the time we all unpacked everything and how we all know each other, everybody was rolling. Because now it's hilarious. Yeah. Because I wasn't sure if he was working them.
Right. You were going into work.
You know what I'm saying? But I went into work with him, man. And so we had those moments sometimes, and it's cool. But it only builds, to your point, community. It only enhances the community.
Yeah, but you see what you said? You walked in with this premise that these guys were these tough guys from the West Side. They ended up being home teams with you. They become friends. You've seen the beauty in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember the first time I seen Eric Lassell, I was like, man, look at this guy. He looks like a mean prick. Now I love him. I kiss him on the cheek. I was on the phone with him today for an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my guy. But when I first seen him, man,
sometimes it's hard to say.
He don't look nothing like nice. And you were ready to do some undercover work.
Yeah. And so when you find yourself on the battlefield with people at any capacity, whether you're working or you're working, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get to know people for who they are. And that's one of my favorite things about this job, because, like I said, I didn't grow up respecting cops or wanting to get to know cops. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now as I'm outside and I see cops doing their jobs and doing their best, you know that there's actually a real person in there.
Right.
There's a real person in there.
There's a question that they had that I'm going to ask you later, but we're probably touching on it now. Mm-hmm. And it's, like how do you, growing up, you had a different perspective of police. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about them now? And I basically, you just said it. You know what I mean? Like, you found out that there's a dude living underneath
people are doing their jobs and they're doing their best. One of the coldest things you ever told me is that everybody wants to go home at night.
Yeah.
But my personal experience, it was only my personal experience that made me think what I thought. That makes me a little hesitant once upon a time when I almost could have, when we were thinking about this role. That I'll never forget, I was a junior in high school, and I wasn't up to no good, but I was a little silly. I think my little sister just had a birthday party and the balloons were still on the ceiling from the helium.
Yeah.
But me and my little brother, we wiped out the helium from the balloons so we can sing the Temptations like the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we singing the Temptations like the Chipmunks, enjoying ourselves. All of a sudden, my mama wants me to take out the garbage. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take out the garbage. So I take out the garbage. On my way back in the house, had to be the helium.
Yeah.
My little sister's bike started talking to me. Said, ride me, just get on and ride me. Take me for a ride. And I'm like, no, you my little sister's bike. I can't get on I can't do that. I get on the bike. I'm in Chuck Taylor's, leopard print smiley face drawers, and a tall white tee. I get on that bike and I'm enjoying the breeze. Before I knew it, my best partner at the time, his name was Bobblehead. He was outside. Bobblehead. We called him Bobblehead because he had a long neck, big head. He ran track. It was funny. So Bobblehead's outside and he sees me, and he like, bro, what you doing on the bike? I'm like, man, bro, something told me to just get on, bro, but I'm enjoying myself. We talked for a little bit, but the bike was slowing me down. I realized I'd been outside for too long, so I'm like, bro, let me leave the bike here. I'll pick it up on the way to school in the morning. I'm just about to run home. So I run home. All of a sudden, the paddy wagon come out of nowhere, flashing the lights. Harvey police come out. Get down, get down, get down. Luce, I have no reason to believe they weren't going to shoot me.
Right.
I was running. It's dark, and we in Harvey.
Yeah.
I'm black. My whole life flashed before my eyes.
Right.
I get straight to the ground, and I'm doing everything they told me to do. They asked me all kind of questions. Where your pants at? Where you coming from? What was you doing outside? And I'm trying to answer as quickly as I can. Everybody asking me a million questions at the same time. I'm just nervous. I'm like, just don't shoot me. Whatever you do, don't shoot me. Take me wherever you want.
Yeah.
But don't shoot me. I can explain myself later. They handcuff me, put me in a paddy wagon. I'm in there by myself, just a whole paddy wagon just to myself, and they drive up a block. I don't know what's going on or what happened. All I know is police officers out of nowhere, they start flashing their lights on the inside. I can hear them laughing. Because like I said, I'm in my drawers.
Yeah, you're in your drawers.
Chuck Taylor's in a tall white tee. They like, man, this is pretty peculiar. But they laughing. I can hear them back there talking. They'll open the door every now and then, ask me some questions.
How old are you at the time?
I'm a junior in high school.
Oh, my God.
So all of a sudden, a little homie of mine, who was my little brother's friend, they open the door and I see him, and he looks at me, basically identifies me. He said, no, that's Lamar's brother. It wasn't him. His house had just been robbed.
So they thought you were running away?
They thought I was running away. And so by the time we had cleared everything up,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you almost
I'm
got
extra
shot.
relieved.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, so the cops, they turn around. My house ain't that far. And I just asked the police officer if he can walk me to my mom's door and let my mama know what's been going on. At this point, it's way past midnight.
Yeah.
He said, no problem. He dropped me off right there in the middle of my lawn. He said, I'm about to go get some paperwork, and I'll meet you at the door. Gets in the car, pulls off, does a U-turn, never seen him again in my life.
Oh, that's a rat move, yeah.
And at that point, just in my experience,
yeah,
I was like, damn, I can't trust cops.
No,
all he had to do,
say sorry.
He didn't say sorry.
Oh,
he didn't say
tell
nothing.
your mom, listen, we this guy was running. We thought who he was. We're sorry.
And now I got to explain my whereabouts to my mama. The only thing that made her believe me was the fact that my wrist was still kind of, shaved up from the handcuffs. My little brother actually did notice the police lights. Man, I'm almost getting chills right now thinking about that moment. But yeah, those are the real references that I have from my experience. And you taught us as a cast how to take those references from our imaginations and from our experiences and just throw them into this world. You teach us very good at how to be technical and mechanical with the guns, with clearing rooms, when it comes to that cop stuff.
Yeah.
But every cop is a human on the inside. And so the human stuff we have to pull on our own. And you do a great job of allowing us to be able to find that.
But you remind me, and then also I learned it. I remember an episode, and I talked about it before with you because it rocked me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why it just rocked me. You and Ruse are the best love relationship we have. And that may sound whatever, but it is.
I know in a manly way, it's
in a
the
manly
biracial
way,
bromance. You appreciate
it's a bromance. I just love it. And people like to joke about it and stuff, but I remember there was a scene in the projects. You know, it was the city, Chicago projects. We walked into a courtway, and they set it up, and there was an African-American there. And you both had guns drawn, and we had them locked in. You know, I call them, we had them in the crosshairs. And Rusick said, get down on your knees. And this African-American black guy, he was with his
kid.
He was with his kid. And you knew that man couldn't, and you knew that man wouldn't, and you knew exactly why. But we didn't. But you did. And it wasn't that scene. It was the scene that was just after that. And I don't know if you remember it, but it was so well shot.
I remember.
Everything just stopped.
Eric Styles shot it, and we go over the hood of the car.
You're over the roof of the car.
The roof of the car, yeah.
So you go over the squad cars. You walk up. I don't remember you driving.
I think I was driving.
So you take the driver's seat. You're out over the top of the car, and he's over the passenger car. And there's this moment of silence, and it just felt so right. Sorry, and it felt so true because in that moment, I seen like this respect that we were trying to find for each other, and this knowledge that we didn't have, and this love of trying to get it right and to be better humans. And in the scene, Ruse had this incredible understanding, which he didn't have at first, but you told it all through your eyes of why the guy couldn't go down, but we didn't have to say it. And then having Eric LaSalle like just take the moment to do it. I just remember walking away that day and I was like, look at this, man. Look at the stories we're telling. You know, and that is the love affair. And that is something so beautiful. And it was because we took the time, because the show takes the time to do that, you know? And that set the stage.
That set the stage for that set the stage not just for the amazing stories that we could tell, but to me, it established the cloth that we cut from and the chemistry, you know what I'm saying, that we create. And it makes us closer to the community. Right. It makes us closer to the community when they're able to watch that and they can see the respect and the understanding that we do our best to find as black and white partners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it brought me and Patty closer together. You know what I'm saying? I think it brought black people closer to the show.
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because I'm reminded of that moment oftentimes when fans of the show pull up on me and they always want to recall scenes and they always want to tell you what you said and what you did. Yeah. And I'm reminded of that more often than I am of most scenes. And that's what helped them fall in love with the show. I think that's what helps even protect the show. You know what I'm saying? Right. From any other cop shows. A lot of cop shows out here. And once upon a time, cop shows are getting canceled. Because
they got rid of Dog Patrol or Paw Patrol. Cop Gander, they hated the police. Yeah. I was getting hate mail.
But Chicago P.D. was protected, and I think it has a lot to do with us taking the time to create those connections, and we do it in a real way.
More than other characters, Kevin really understands the difference between the rules of the neighborhood and the rules of policing, the gray areas. You know, having street smart helps this out. There's a code of silence on both sides. Atwater clearly knows the price if a person must pay if the rules or their codes are broken. This is portrayed in the episode of Street Jesus. Atwater clocked his team members making snap judgments, and Atwater also didn't want his friends to become an informant. How do you navigate that tension with the moral gray areas as an actor?
I remember reading Street Jesus for the first time and bumping on that moment. I remember bumping on the moment that were filled with that racial tension a little bit. And I didn't understand why. Because in my mind, we've had the scenes with Patty and I.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We've had that moment over the roof of the car. We've also had that moment where we had to take the cop that just shot the black kid.
So you know.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, initially I was like, why are we running these racial moments back?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Sarge, and because I needed help kind of navigating that, and he helped me. He helped me talk me off the ledge, and I'm grateful for that conversation because what we discussed was, what we discussed was we never stop learning. You know, if you feel like you figured it out, if you feel like racism isn't over, or if you feel like that conversation is behind us, then we can never go forward. We have to always have this sense that, so it's not about the conversation itself that you don't want to have. It's about, well, now, at this point of your process as a cop, at this point of your life, how do you handle it?
In this moment.
Now handle it in this moment with everything that you've learned. Mm-hmm. But don't bump on it because you don't think we have to revisit that, because you never know.
Yeah. He says that a lot in that moment, right?
Right. In that moment, really do your best with it. Nobody's perfect.
So no matter what the rotors wrote, you do you.
You do you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's, if you bumping on it, there's obviously something in you that you're either fighting against, that you don't want to play, or there's something that you need to grow from, and so you might just need to lean into it. You know what I'm saying?
I like
that. And
that.
So in that moment, Sarge talked me into leaning into it. And I think, honestly, those moments, even though I bumped on them when I first read the script, were some of the most authentic nuances.
Little beeps,
beeps within the, you know what I'm saying? Because you clock everybody
not talking or talking,
non-verbally, really communicating very beautifully. You know what I'm saying? And if you take those moments out, now it's flat. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I learned a lot in that episode. Just
for everybody listening, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but Sarge is Jason Begay. His voice. Like we just call him Sarge. I call him Atwater. We call everybody by character because we're on a team, I think, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of times I go to Sarge. Go ahead. I didn't mean.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for Sarge and his wisdom and his guidance. You know, I mean, a lot of what happens on screen in front of the camera between characters, happens in the exact same way, or at least very similar, between humans. You know what I'm saying? Right. And between family.
Art echoes, or art something real life. What's that? What do they say?
Yeah, art imitates life,
and life imitates art.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So Sarge helped me out with that part, because at first I didn't get it.
What do you like? What do you like about Atwater and his arc over the last 12 seasons?
For the most part, I just like that that we stayed true to the character and allowed the character the room and the grace to grow. You know what I'm saying? That process has been amazing. Like I said, because as a storyteller, I've been able to learn so much because of our commitment to the character.
The siblings, your father.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, just like when I say as a storyteller, like, you know, you don't get this kind of experience at this level with a wardrobe department or with a camera department in order for you to come to work and really learn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What it means. You don't get X amount of years with an Eric LaSalle. You know what I mean? You don't get to be on the battlefield with a Jason Begay consistently and just be able to pick up what he's putting down.
Chad.
A Chad. You know what I'm saying? So
a Gwen who's all about the truth.
You know, and what I've been able to witness is growth from everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember when I started, I was in patrol, and Sam was a PA.
So Sam Avello is a production assistant who, over the last 12 years, has grown into our first AD. Gwen, who we speak of as our showrunner, Gwen Segan, who started out as an assistant writer for Matt Olmstead, and Chad Saxton is now our executive producer, who's our directing producer. Mm-hmm. And Chad Saxton started out as his second AD, who we used to call him the robot and stuff. He is like one of my favorite people. I love him.
Yeah.
And he's a storyteller himself.
Yeah. And so
Eric
not to cut you off,
go ahead.
But what I love, what I love is being a part of the growth and being able to watch so many because Atwater isn't the same as when we first saw him on the beat. You know what I'm saying? And now, when you consider everything that he's been through, and now he's one of the players on this elite squad that every other cop in the district respects. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can say the same thing about LaRoyce Hawkins, who didn't know that much.
He was a guy on the block, right?
He was a guy on the block. But now, 13 seasons deep, the influence and the impression that I can now leave on actors from Chicago that look like me, that are on their way, the example that I can be now of, like I said, how to do the right thing when nobody's looking. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
No, that's beautiful.
That's the parallel that I enjoy the most. It's just the growth of Atwater and of LaRoyce Hawkins simultaneously growing into this great example.
And I told, like, you know, being a veteran cop, like I told you, okay, you've been on the show for 12 years, you're in patrol, you're a veteran cop. Mm-hmm. Being a veteran cop comes with a cost. Mm-hmm. Like when I was 27 years in, I worked in a jail, then I worked in the Bureau of Organized Crime, and I seen things, made you think differently, made you a little bit more protective you become calloused. You become judgmental. Because you want to go home.
Yeah.
So I think the show helped me be a better person too. But just know you as a character in the 12 years that came as a cost. Everything you've seen. Like they asked me one time, and I might have said it already in the podcast. Guy asked me, you know, do you ever have nightmares? And I'm like, man, I got a whole library I didn't even get to yet. Mm-hmm. You know, when I first got married, my wife, like, I'd be screaming. Mm-hmm. You know, she'd wake up and she'd be sweating with me, like, are you okay? It comes at a cost. And you, all this stuff that you've seen, all this shit that you've been through, all these stories, like, you really, as a character, had to dive into them.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? You had to, when you went up to that door, that just wasn't a door. Whether you were kicking it in, or you were knocking on it to tell them that their little kid got killed, or maybe you just shot somebody. Mm-hmm. All these came as a cost. They stay with you.
And to this day, I can't stand right in front of a door.
You can't. I'll slap the
You know what I'm
piss
saying?
out.
I can't stand right in front of a door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm always off to the side, and people be looking at me like, yo, what are you doing? Why you peeking around corners before you turn them?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to slice the pie.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to look ahead.
Quick peek.
You know what I'm saying? Just in case.
How much of you is in Atwater and vice versa?
I think it's a lot of me. I think it's a lot of me in there, and I say this humbly, but I think that's what makes Atwater special, is because you know, I've had a very unique experience just growing up from where I'm from, just being who I am, my family and my friends, and so the fact that I'm able to pour into Atwater what I know, I think has allowed Atwater to kind of light up.
And that's what
different ways.
It goes back to the intro when we were first talking. I said, when they called me in L.A. and I was out in L.A. and they were asking me, I said, the best thing you could do with the character Atwater is keep as much LaRoyce as you can inside that guy. You know what I mean?
And that was a blessing. Yeah. That was a blessing. When you told the producers that, they made the character from Harvey.
Yeah, right. He made it from Harvey.
And so, and that was the biggest blessing that you could have given me, because I didn't have to rack my brain about, okay, if I'm from Roseland, what does that mean? How do I act? You know what I'm saying? If I'm from up north, or if I'm from the west side, you know what I mean? But for me to be from where I'm from and allow my imagination at that point to just lock in on what I knew.
Yeah, and you called me on some stuff, like Luce, you know, man, I wouldn't be standing over there. But then we can't stand over there.
Yeah.
Because you knew how true the character was to you, LaRoyce, and Atwater.
Yeah.
You know? How many times we were playing undercover and I'll be like, just remember, you're LaRoyce playing Atwater, who's playing another guy. You know what I mean? Have fun with that shit.
Yeah.
You know, get silly with it.
Yeah. We done created some crazy moments, man.
Oh, my God.
I'm grateful.
You ready to go a little deeper into this role?
All right, let's go.
Which favorite TV or movie cop or detective inspired you growing up? Did you have any? Or you were like, you hated them all?
No. You know, from my experience, because I didn't really grow up on cop shows. So to be honest with you.
You like the bad guy?
Nah, it wasn't that. If I had to identify a cop, it would probably be Carl Winslow.
Who's Carl Winslow?
From Family Matters with Steve Urkel.
He was a cop?
He was a cop.
The
Carl
old man.
Winslow.
The old man that would come home. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a cop, and it was
He'd
a
wear
couple
the
episodes.
uniform and come home.
Right, but it was a couple episodes where he never really did cop stuff. Like I don't think we ever saw him pull a gun out. But there were a few episodes where he had to stand up for his family, where he had to represent his community, where, you know, they actually touched those topics. I think it was an episode where Eddie Winslow might have gotten harassed by like some white cops that didn't know that his father was the
police.
Yeah, was the police, and the way that he just stepped up and stood on business, you know, was a, because, you know, that's what I was watching.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't watching a lot of cop stuff. It wasn't until later where I kind of started getting into it, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one moment from the series that defines Atwater as a character, what would you pick? And the series is all the episodes. If you can land on that.
Mm-hmm. Man, you know, I think a good moment, and I miss these moments. But you remember early. This had to be season 1, and we were still hanging out at Molly's.
Oh yeah.
And Atwater was, you know, he was the guy. He had the connection. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got a guy for that.
I got a guy for that. I got a guy for that. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, Atwater has always, ever since that moment, you know what I'm saying? I've done my best to really kind of live in that space where, you know, you the guy that got these resources, these unique resources that everybody might not be able to find. But because you are who you are and you come from where you come from,
people love you.
You able to, right, and you got great relationships. Your relationships, honestly, Atwater's relationships make him, in my humble opinion, a better cop. You know what I'm saying? And a better partner. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you can depend on and trust. And so I'll never forget that moment where Atwater was kind of like hosting that party in Molly's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've done my best to try to allow that to follow Atwater ever since.
I kind of miss Molly's. I remember almost every episode would end there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was like, I think Dick wanted like all the shows, that whatever you could do to come together. And we were talking to Herman, David Eitenberg. I teased him because he was the highest paid, because they pay you X amount of dollars to do a crossover with us, and he would come bartend. Yeah, it was.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The highest paid bartender in Chicago history.
Okay, this is the lovey-dovey part. Atwater got another love interest this past season, Valerie, or should we say Val Soto? And his fans said, thank you. LaRoyce, is it fun to explore Atwater's more playful, vulnerable, sexy side?
I do enjoy that. I enjoy tapping into that because it's not something that happens extremely often, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I thoroughly enjoy watching Burgess and Patty explore that balance and try to find the harmony and within love and, you know, this dark world that we live in.
Torres slept in the bed. And he went to the dark world and slept with devil.
Yeah, he got in there.
And me personally, I hope Voight never hooks up with anyone. I
feel the same way.
I love that his wife means everything. His wife who passed away.
Yeah.
Well, you got to. I don't know if I'm going to say this,
but I do enjoy exploring that part. You know, it's definitely fun, and just to create a well-rounded and I think in balanced character, I think you got to tap into that love and that vulnerability sometimes.
What makes PD unique compared to Fire and Men? I
think, you know, I think every show has their go-to. You know what I'm saying? Like Fire has their Chickarotis.
Yeah.
You know, and Chick is definitely going to do his best to make sure that firefighters are respected and that we're telling great stories that the network feels good about promoting. And to be honest with you, I think Brian Luce for us is kind of what separates.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's important to say. You know, just the way that you're able to get into everybody's head, not just the actors, but I've watched you condition directors. I've watched you condition other departments, right, in a way that we can tell a story that respects cops and respects Chicago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Or the offender.
Or the offender.
Yeah.
And we all have Chicago in common. Yeah. And I know we all want to be the first to respond. But I think every show is a little different because of our go-to people. You know what I'm saying? And cool. The energy that they bring in respect to the field.
Thank you. What's your favorite thing that happens behind the scenes that fans wouldn't know about?
No, man, it's we don't got to get into like carried away details, but we really care for each other. We're really there for each other personally. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is dope. I think if fans could really see how much we really cared and how we really show up for each other outside of the set, that'd be crazy. I'll never forget my son was born in the middle of a scene. And as soon as I got off work, Patty and Jesse drove with me an hour and a half all the way to Rockford to see my son. And
no, I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shit like that.
So it's
things like that.
It's things like that, that people don't see that's going to make us family forever.
Okay, last season and looking forward, what did you appreciate most about last season's plot and the character arcs?
I loved how hot we came in. I love how hot we came in last season. I love the characters that were introduced into our world and then unintroduced out of nowhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Rabbit was great. And I just love how Martell was introduced and then all of a sudden unintroduced.
You know that episode, dude, and you came into the back end of that or one of the scenes and I seen you watch what Ruse was going through and I felt in my heart that LaRoyce wants to be in that car. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, and there's time you show up and say, you're like, watch this, Luce, watch this. The director, Victor, who's our Steadicam guy, who directs 2 episodes, who's great on our show.
Yeah.
It was the first time that we slowed down and it breathed. Yep. And we were in Ruzik's head.
Yep.
And it got quiet and there's a little bit of noise. And I watched that. I got so many good people that came and told me how that felt, the realest for a cop to go through the door and it's okay to be afraid and to grip that pistol and to feel it shaking and go.
That was hard.
Woo, it was good.
Hard.
A couple quick Chicago questions.
Yeah.
Favorite place to eat in Chicago?
Favorite place to eat in Chicago, the Harold's on Madison. Harold's Chicken, the one on Madison in the West Loop, and Au Cheval. They got the best burger. My favorite burger.
Great burger, yeah. White Sox or Cubs fan?
White Sox, stop playing.
Yeah. If there was a dream place to go undercover, and I mean anywhere, like your favorite place to eat or any place to do undercover or be undercover in the writer's room, where would you want to go do an undercover mission?
I want to do an undercover mission. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I've already imagined this moment.
Doing this undercover mission?
Imagine being undercover at an open mic.
Oh, you love the open mic, yeah.
And Sarge make you put your name on the list just in case, and they actually call you up.
And then you gotta
go up there.
That's a good idea to throw with the.
You know what I'm saying?
The writers, yeah.
And so it's a poetry open mic. They didn't even know that Atwater had been writing, but all of a sudden they called his name, and to preserve his identity, he has to act like. He's a poet.
Quick poem.
So he goes up there and he says, to the honeys and the money, either way we save them. Undercover Kev mode, 50-21 David. Copy that. Shots fired in the basement. Birds is running out the back. White women making statements. But black mothers make arrangements. The blue lights make them all famous. I pray that we could trade places. Every night I close my eyes, I see the same faces. And I can't erase them. But if he did it, I'll die for you. Tell me the truth, I'll lie for you. Cross my heart and I'll cry for you. But let the record show that I tried for you.
Oh, my God, I love that.
You feel me?
Yeah, you better cut that out of it.
I already thought that was
that's dope. 50-21 David, I love it.
Yep.
It's time for our lightning round of rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay, get ready. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you need to answer them quickly. All right?
Yes, I can.
There we go. Rapid fire. Who would you choose? Right? LaRoyce, if you could bring any character from any Wolf Entertainment show onto our Chicago PD show, who would you choose and why? And remember, it's quick.
Ice-T. I'm bringing Ice-T over here real quick.
And why?
Because I just think we need him over here. We need that energy.
Ah, beautiful. LaRoyce, which PD character would you want on your side or holding your six as you stack at a door and you're ready to go through into a bad guy's house? Who would you pick and why?
I'm picking Burgess.
Burgess?
I'm picking Burgess.
Why?
Because Burgess is going to have me. She going to hold me down.
She loves you, man.
I know for a fact.
Oh, that's beautiful. LaRoyce, which PD character would you most want to go on vacation with and why?
I would want to go with Sergeant Platt because I know that we're going to find the fun.
Amy Morton?
Amy Morton for a fact. Trust me.
I can't believe it.
I just
Be
think
honest
Amy
with you, I
Morton
wouldn't mind going. I'd take a Peta. I love a Peta.
That's going to be a good time.
All right, LaRoyce. If you could trade places with one Chicago PD character for a day, who would that character be and why?
Probably Ocean.
Ocean. So you're talking about Torres, Benjamin Torres.
Benjamin Torres. Just so I can escape.
Wait.
I need practice meditating.
So I can't thank you enough for coming down here, man. We're going to be doing a few more of these, but I personally ask, please let me do LaRoyce first. That you don't understand how much I love him. It's been 12 years. I've been so fortunate to be part of it, so I can't thank you enough. We're probably going to put you back in again if you'll have it. I know that you're a man who loves entertainment.
Come on, man.
We got 21 episodes ahead of us this year. Where I think we're gonna rock the house a little bit.
I can't wait.
So when we do go behind the scenes to show these people how we make the sausage and our secret recipes, you got to be there with me. We got to rock and roll, right?
Cut me in and cut it out.
Put your little cook hat on you.
You feel me?
Thank you. Love you to death.
Thank you, brother.
All right, brother.
From the heart.
Bye-bye.